Hello everyone, and welcome back to Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. And in today's stream, I'm going to be finishing up the first few tie downs of my Prism short. So that's going to be exciting, and let's see how far I get. I was working on this a little bit last night when I got home, and so I actually made quite a bit of progress, at least on this specific part of doing the body. I'm also going to be still experimenting with the whole starting 15, 20 minutes earlier whole thing. So I started at 9:45 and let's see what it let's see what the stream gets like when I go up to 12. So, yesterday you guys saw my first live action video. That was quite interesting, and that was also kind of fun to just film a video of me around my city, sort of walking through a portion of downtown and just showing people. Because I really like my hometown. I really like Raleigh. It's a place with so much potential, so much stuff to do, mainly on weekends, but it's just so fun and so nice to walk around your own city. And I definitely implore other people to do that, to walk around your own city, to find nice locations where restaurants or cafes are, get something to eat, get a coffee, and then just go out and enjoy yourself. And I definitely see potential in my hometown. Like I just showed you guys a portion of it. I didn't get to walk around and show you guys like the construction areas cuz well for one it's not really that safe to be filming near construction, but two like there's always something going on in Raleigh. There's always some sort of event or thing that's happening. It really is a growing city. Just follow my video's instructions, and if you do come here make sure you bring some industry because most people come here for Research Triangle Park, and so the cost of living in Raleigh gets to be pretty high in some places. It's hard to find places to live, so we do sadly have a growing homeless epidemic, which is sad and sorrowful, but I have hope, I have faith that something will be done and something will get better. I'm just gonna be honest, I haven't really thought much in the way of world building for Witches 13. I honestly think I'm done. And I don't know if it's a combination of like depression from my retail job or like maybe I'm just done sort of brainstorming with it, but like I haven't thought of really any new details to share with you guys. And I'm kind of worried that I don't know that I may never complete my dreams, that I may never be able to break into the industry because I'm going to be honest, I've been at this for a while. Okay? Like I've been trying to apply to job after job after job and nothing has come for me. And then like I go on LinkedIn or I see other people that I know and they're making leaps and bounds like and it's sort of hard because you try so hard, you attempt things and then for whatever reason they don't go your way or they don't end up how you'd want them to. And so now you're stuck trying to make the most or trying to make the best situation out of wherever you're at. And I do have hope. Like I really genuinely do have hope, but it does get hard because you try so hard and you've been at this for so long only to get repeated rejection after rejection or different difficulties and issues that come with that. It's almost wild, it's almost crazy just how things can go. But as bad as things have gotten, a part of me still does have hope. Like, I can't give up on my dreams yet. I know that something will come. Because, like, everyone's saying, oh, be patient, be patient. Something's going to come. But I know something's going to come, but it's still hard to wait, especially when the environment is being difficult. So, I mean, I'm really just doing all that I can do at this point, which is just continue to hone my craft, continue to do art, continue to work in areas and places where I can. At least try to get something in the industry so I can get my name and work out there. And that's one of the issues that I'm having is while there's many different places and areas for game design, there's not many places for animation. Like, there's new job postings for concept artists and technical artists and different stuff like that in ArtStation and LinkedIn and areas across social media and other job finding platforms. So when it comes to 2D animation, when it comes to what I'm trying to do, there's barely anything. So I really have to search and look hard for it. And then there are like programs and stuff like that that are going on. But and you know that's also one of the wild things is when I was in college, folks would always say like, "Oh, don't work for Disney, don't work for this place, don't work for that place." At this point, I'm not gonna tell you not to work anywhere. I'm just gonna say as long as you can get your foot in the industry, it is okay. Because I've been trying to listen to those people and like not joining certain studios, but at this point, I'll take anything. If I'm being completely honest, I will take any sort of work because that is honestly that is what's needed, and that's one of the things that a few people, I'm not gonna say all, but a few people aren't willing to do is just work or do for the moment, and then you can sort of go about things later. Because sometimes that is what you have to do. You do have to take on jobs or do things that you don't want to do because you need to make a living. And that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly okay. Like that's life. We all got to do what we don't want to do. And I would say, just find those momentary things that keep you sane and keep you alive. Like, find little things that you like to do or enjoy in your free time, because those hobbies and those momentary likes and desires, I'm gonna be real with you, those are gonna keep you sane. Like, if I didn't have live streaming, if I didn't have me making videos, I'd probably be crazy right now. Like, I probably, I don't know, take all my money and just walk, and then just walk forward and go into Central America and camp out and live out the rest of my days. Because it is wild, it's crazy, and it's difficult. Like, that's really all that can be said and done, is just how wild, crazy, and difficult things can be. But there is hope. It's like, and this is one of the crazy and wild things I've learned, is that in life and in this grappling and mix of likes, desires, wants, and dreams, there is this duality of hope and despair that people constantly go through. There's constantly going to be a reason for you to keep moving on in life. Then there's constantly going to be things that get you down, make you want to cry, make you want to give up. And so we have to sort of grapple that and not really push beyond it or ignore it, but rather come to terms and maybe even come into equilibrium with that. Understanding and knowing that we will have downtimes, that we will face difficulties, that things will be hard, and some people will have more success than others, and some people will fail more than others, which is sad, which is horrible. Like, I wish that everyone could live their dreams, and I wish that everyone could have an easier time making their dreams a reality, but sadly, that's just not the case. And I do feel as though I am doing something to fix that. I mean, that's sort of the whole point of this channel, is to give a chance to people who weren't given a chance, to see the potential in those that weren't given the potential. That's one of the main reasons why I would like to open my own animation studio in Raleigh, because I do see potential in those that haven't been reached out to, that haven't been given a chance, because in many ways I wasn't given a chance, and I'm still not being given the chance. So if I can help anyone, I will. If I can get any subscribers I have to check out somebody else or to look at somebody else's work, I will, because that is what is needed, is people need to start giving others a chance. And that's also kind of funny, is people constantly talk about progress and being open-minded or loving, but they're really not. People constantly talk about like diversity and inclusion, but they're not really diverse and they're not really inclusive, which is kind of sad. And like, I've sort of, I guess you could say I've almost given up on the whole diversity and inclusion narrative. I mean, obviously we do need people with different mindsets, but I've just been, taken advantage of and gaslit and used so much that I don't really, I mean, I already never fit in with that crowd, but like, I see the writing on the wall. And my whole desire and aim and goal is to just genuinely be a kind and good person to other people, not make a grandstand about it. And who knows, maybe I'm not destined to work in a big tech company, but at the very least, I want to do something and I want to have a future in which I use my skills, which is why I try so hard, fight so hard, and keep pushing and doing what I can. Because if there's one thing that I like about myself is I do consider that I was blessed with creativity. Like I think that that is one of the best gifts that God has given me is my creativity because I just can come up with so many different ideas and concepts and stories to tell that I love it. I genuinely love telling stories and sending off messages and helping people and using analogy and different stuff like that. It is fun to me. It fills me with joy and a life and a purpose. Like it's so exciting for me to tell stories. It's something that I genuinely love and I genuinely enjoy. And so really at base value all I really want is to just have that chance to tell stories. Like I'm not trying to push a narrative or push an objective. All I want to do is just tell stories. Like if you could if you're a hirer or if you're a recruiter and like you want to if you're scoping me out, like just know all I really want is to just tell stories. Like there's no secret agenda, there's no higher purpose or meaning. Just let me tell good stories. And I swear like my stories will be amazing. Now let's see this. Let's see what it looks like. So I decided to break this up, and what I wanted to do was I'm going to come back to this top layer right here and sort of animate the overcoat above this layer. I just left that alone because I had more to animate and do later on. Like I had to finish all this. And the same is true also for this area and segment right here, where I'm going to sort of freehand animate the moving of the fabric when it comes to her sort of mini vest over here. I do need to redo these legs because I don't like how they turned out. I'll just come back to them later. Now, I think next what's to do is the head. So let's get to drawing. Now for the head, I think this 2-point brush is big enough, and then I can just lightly draw with it. So that's going to be perfectly fine. I do want to use a bit of a stabilizer as well as some curve smoothing just so my lines aren't that shaky. Now as for pressure, I think I can lower that to about 50, and let's see what this looks like. So this is how most animations usually tend to be the first to go around, is very broken up. Animators usually only draw the head. So just be careful and just be patient. It's definitely going to take you some time, but it's also very fulfilling once you get the hang of it and once you start really putting things down. Though sometimes what some issues may occur with sizing consistency. Oh, my dad's calling me. Let me put myself on mute real quick. Yeah, my dad had called me. He was returning my call. He was returning my message because we were talking because I told him that I had went downtown and I told him how much Raleigh had changed. And then he was telling me like all these different stories about Raleigh and like what goes on there and shoot, something's wrong with my freaking mouse again. It's doing that right clicking thing. Okay. It's fixed now. What happened to my original stylus is that it like broke, or rather the guard, like the finger guard came off. And so I had to essentially tape it back on in order for me to use it. So then I said, you know what? No, I'm just gonna buy a new graphic pen. And now this one is good, but like I can't even like every once in a while there's just gonna be issues with the side button for this pen. But it is what it is. Sometimes in life you just have to deal with things you don't like, which is perfectly okay. While I'm here, let me just hide this real quick so then I can focus more on the actual shape and size of the head. Let me also turn this off. But yeah, if you watch my video, Raleigh is actually a really good place, and it's fun and it's exciting. There's plenty of stuff to do in Raleigh, plenty of places to eat. Like that's in downtown proper. Now, if you want like stuff to do or places to eat, definitely go to like proper downtown Raleigh. There's Moore Square Park. There's always some type of festival or concert or event going on, especially on weekends. If you like to drink here and there, like if you're like a fan of that scene, then they have like sipping strolls. Kyliko, I am working on a short animation. So I have this character, her name is Prism, and she's sort of like this half dragon katana wielding character. And so her whole thing is that she has a sword and her hair changes color depending on which form she takes. She has three forms. She has like a speed form, a attack form, and then like a defense form. And so I'm just doing the tie down of like the basic animation. What is going to be happening is when I put this through After Effects, I plan on doing some compositing to sort of give her her different effects and different hair effects, styling, and clothing effects. She has these nice horns. Her design, at least when it comes to like her horns and stuff like that, and what type of dragon is she is based on Far Eastern dragons and as well as Far Eastern mythology on ascension into godhood and investiture and other aspects and themes like that. Thank you. That's so kind of you to say. Well, sit back and relax. Enjoy some of my artistic fervor, if you will. That's really what I just do here on my Sit and Chill series, where you guys are free to come and go as you please. If you want to chill out for a few minutes, or if you want to hear my voice or hear a story, if you want to leave, you can leave. If you want to stay, you can stay. Just trying to give you guys a bit of a break before you go back to your likely stressful lives. So that's really what I do here on my live streams. I hope you guys are enjoying. I hope I'm not boring you. Does anyone have any questions? Anything they'd like to ask me? Maybe I can think of something to say or give me a prompt. Now, I will say that one of the issues I personally have is with faces. So, like, sometimes I make the face a bit too small, or like the top of the head a bit too short. And so then I give my characters 3 heads instead of 4 heads. Like, when you were in like elementary school or middle school, someone would have like a 5 head, or someone would have like a 3 head, and they would like say, like, that's what this reminds me of. Because, I think I do this subconsciously, because growing up, one of my favorite shows was like Code Lyoko, and like some of you probably aren't nerds, but for those of you who are nerds, you know what Code Lyoko is. For those of you who don't know, it's this show where these kids go into a computer and fight like this evil computer virus. But like, what the one takeaway from the show is that with the character designs, those kids got some big ass those kids got some big ass foreheads, and so I guess I'm just subconsciously making my character's head short because I don't want to give my characters like big foreheads. Which is actually very interesting, because now that I think about it in like retrospective, or like, you know, what's the word? Self reflection. I sort of think, you know what? I can see why I'm doing this. Because I'm not trying to get my character designs insulted and picked apart. Because, I'm not trying to end my career before. Because I'm not trying to end my career before I even make a scene. What got me into art in the first place? That is a bit of a loaded story. I guess I could say that what got me into art was video games. So I remember the first video game I played was like Pets for Nintendo, and it was my cousin's game. Like, she had a Nintendo and I loved playing it. And so I just fell in love with Nintendo. I fell in love with games. And my first proper game that I owned and I religiously played was Pokemon Diamond. Because I had begged my mom, I said, "Mom, get me Pokemon Diamond. I really wanted it so bad." And she caved and bought me a white Nintendo DS and a copy of Pokemon Diamond. And so we bought the game, I turned on Pokemon Diamond, like I did the whole, are you a boy or are you a girl? What's your name? So on and so forth. And for like the past 3, 4 days, I was stuck in my character's starting room. So what I mean by that is I thought the game was broken or bugged. I had walked to like the gaming console that was in the character's room. I clicked on that. I thought that was how I got into like the world of Pokemon. It wasn't. I walked around the entire room. I went to bed. I did a bunch of different stuff, and for the life of me, I couldn't start the game. I even at one point I even walked to a prop, like I think it was like a tree or a shrub, and I thought like, oh, like if I click on the tree, like maybe it's gonna take me to a different world or whatever. And I was stuck in that bedroom for about 2, 3 days because I couldn't figure out how to start the game. Turns out there was a staircase like right in the corner of the room, but 6-year-old me, I thought that the staircase was a bookshelf, and I never even thought to go over there and walk down the steps. So, yeah, that's sort of my child mindset, at least at the time. And so, like, after 2, 3 days, after bawling my eyes out because I essentially felt like I made my mom waste her money, I ended up finally getting out and starting the game. And when I started playing Pokemon Diamond proper, I fell in love with like the storytelling. I fell in love with the different character designs and stuff like that. And so for a while, I was thinking like, oh, I want to be a game designer. Like I want to design games. And there's still a part of me deep down that does like game design. Like I still do have the skill set and the base abilities to go into game design if I really wanted to. But growing up and going through middle school and high school, and in middle school and high school, I wasn't really much of an artist. I was more of a writer, so to speak, as well as a designer. Like I did a lot of computer design. I did a lot of like designs and drawings on the computer. I also did a lot of like writing, creative writing. Don't judge me, but I also wrote fan fiction growing up. And no, you will not be seeing links to my. Oh, hi, EKQW. Nice to meet you. Welcome to Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. I hope you are enjoying. But growing up, I was like very much into writing and computer stuff, so I ended up taking a programming class in middle school, which was like, it wasn't even C sharp. I think it was like A plus or something like that. Like it was like standard programming. I even forgot what. Thank you, Kyliko, for that. Fanfic writers become the best character designers. And it wasn't until high school, which was when I really sort of figured out what I wanted to do. And so I learned about myself that I would much rather tell a story. I wanted to tell stories. I wanted to send messages to people. I wanted to, have beautiful character designs and story concepts. And so that is really what birthed my desire to be an animator specifically. And then I went to college. College was nice. It was also very eye opening for me. I met a bunch of beautiful and interesting people. People who were better than me, who were worse than me, who were going on their own journeys. I made friends and acquaintances there. Some of them I even find and like I still chat with them here and there when I have time. Now we go into sort of like the downside or like the sad aspects of my time in college. Um, so I am not the best. Okay, I am not the best animator. I will never claim to be the best animator. I may joke here and there and say like, oh, I'm the best 2D animator, or oh, I want to be the best 2D animator. or like, oh, I'm the king of 2D animation, but like I don't really believe that. That's just something I say to sort of like hype myself up and like keep me pushing another day or two. And so in high school, I kept getting repeatedly rejected from my concentration. So like in no, did I say high school? I meant college. In college, I kept getting repeatedly rejected from my concentration because what you have to do is in my college, you have to sort of submit a proposal for whichever degree you want or for whichever concentration you want. In my case, it was an art major and I chose animation. And so the professors were very vague. Like they kept saying I needed to submit more work and I needed to do more work. And so what ended up happening is I had an entire portfolio website of all my work. I had personal projects, I had school projects, I had projects I've done in middle school and high school. Like literally everything I've worked on, I had on my portfolio. I even had, and this was during COVID, so there were a lot of alternate projects being doled out. And so in my young, overachieving college mind, I thought, you know what? The teacher, she said we only have to do one alternate project. I'm going to do both of them. Like, I want to show them that I'm very serious and I'm very passionate about being an animator. So I ended up doing double the work and submitted two alternate projects to present on my portfolio website. And I still got rejected. And keep in mind, this was at the time where I was back home and I was taking care of my grandmother because she was failing. And she was, as you get older, you do less and less. So by the second rejection, I I got the dean of students involved, and I said, "Hey, look, like, is this some like racial thing or like what's going on here? Because I keep applying, like they know I'm passionate about this. They know I keep trying hard to get into this program, and they keep rejecting me." So I got the dean of students involved, and there was a conference, and there was like an entire sit down digital conference with the dean of students and with the animation professors. And even in that interview, they were like very vague. They were just saying like, "Oh, you need more process work, you need more projects, you need to do more of this, you need to do more of that." And towards the end, I just straight up asked them. I said, "Hey, if I do this, will I get in?" And then they said, "Oh, we don't know for certain." Even though like I've submitted double the work, double the projects that my peers have. And after that third rejection, I was very distraught over the repeated rejections. And I also remember that it had came to a point where I couldn't even handle listening to the Microsoft Office notification sound. Like I literally had to, there was like a straight month where I turned off notifications from my school email. And then after that, I had to change the notification sound for Microsoft Office because I had associated that sound with like failure and more bad stuff happening. Because each time I got an email, it was another rejection. So yeah, that's a bit of my story. And but I'm still moving forward. I'm still pushing. I'm still animating. Like I have this whole live stream up right now, and I have 7 beautiful people who are watching my live stream right now. Thank you all. Much love, much excitement. I hope you guys are enjoying Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. You guys are awesome. You guys are beautiful, and thank you so much for stopping by. And EK, I will keep trying hard. I will keep working hard. I'm still pushing forward despite everything. Yeah, many artists hated college. And like that's the wild thing about college because okay, so it's kind of messed up, but even artists have like this joke about how, I don't know if I can say it, but like in art school, there's this joke that like, oh, Hitler was an artist and like he was so passionate about it, but because his art teacher rejected him, like it's this whole meme and inside joke in like art school about like Hitler being an artist. But like, yeah, like so many artists hated college. I'm not gonna talk too much about that joke. I don't think I can make that joke. So I'm not. So like I'm just going to tease that. I'm gonna end that there. But no, I'm still moving forward. I'm still pushing forward, and I'm definitely still trying to just grow and develop and get better and hone my craft because I still have plans. I still have ideas and I still have a bunch of stuff I want to do. Like right now, I'm working on my own show. Like I already have a pilot set up. I did that teaser trailer, and so it's this. Since I have so many of you guys here, I get to share a bit about my show. But essentially, it is a science fantasy, so it blends technology and magic. And so it follows this event known as the Cascade, which follows human history up to around the year 2000 when this near apocalyptic event brings magic to the world. And so now everyone can use magic. The whole society has become a society that runs off of magic as well as magic powered technology. And this story in specific, I'm making an entire world because I do have hopes and plans to like evolve this into maybe a game series or maybe like a tabletop role playing game or anything. Like it's a huge expansive idea, but the main story, which is 13, follows 13 men and women who are seeking revenge after being wronged in some way. So I do hope you guys stay for that. And so my long-term plans are to essentially do what Vivzy Pop and Amizi did, like which is make my own show and make my own independent studio or company because at this point it's needed. Like, have you guys seen like the writer strike and so many different writers that are like going on strike and wanting more money? And of course they should. If they definitely feel like they need more money or they need better pay, they definitely should what's the word? Protest to get better. They definitely should protest to get better accommodations and better pay for themselves. But at the same time, like these are people in the industry who have been in their industry for a while. Okay, they have skills, they have an understanding of business. I'm pretty sure they have savings. Like, yes, fight for better pay, but they could just as easily go back to their hometown or set up shop in a new state or a new city and start their own studios. Like that really is what is needed because we can't be on paper having many different studios in one location sounds like a good idea, but long term that can lead to some issues. So in hindsight, Hollywood um and making California the center or the heart of the media and entertainment industry was a bad idea because it gets really hard for people who are new to the industry to get their first steps in. There comes with a lot of like gatekeeping and a lot of pushing out of those you think or feel are undeserving. People who don't take chances on others. So definitely, I think that folks should folks should definitely just open up their own studios. Like go back to your hometown, start your own studio there, get some locals who love art, who love filmmaking, and set up a business there. like choose a new state. Like choose North Carolina. This is some self promotion of my home city, but honestly, you can choose North Carolina. Like that's the wild part. Is like there's so much stuff being built in North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia. They would honestly love to have a film studio or like a small set of film studios here. And you know, you got that southern hospitality. Like folks are just so nice and respectful and kind in North Carolina. Like you're gonna get a lot of yes ma'ams, no ma'ams, yes sirs, no sirs. Like people are just like even if you don't want to set up a business here, you can definitely just visit if you want to. Like people are just generally kind, good, and nice people. That was a bit of a tangent, but I hope I wasn't going off too hard or like being too disjointed in my phrases and words. I'm just very passionate about like art and animation and stuff like that. So I could literally talk about this for hours. Cuz everyone just has so much potential. You know that like there's potential for the world to be a better place, a more beautiful place, like with new ideas, new beliefs, new everything. We all should at least have the chance and the opportunity to make our dreams a reality. Don't you think so? Honestly, if I could leave you guys with anything, you have to take control of your own future. Okay? You have to take control of your own life. And while it is good to get experience and okay, objectively speaking, yes, you are going to need experience. Yes, you're going to need yes, you're going to need a network. Yes, you need to get your name out there. But at the end of the day, if things aren't going your way, if you can't make success, instead of waiting for someone to take a chance on you, you need to take a chance on yourself. Okay? You guys need to take a chance on yourself. If you guys have an idea, if you guys have a project you want to work on, if you guys have something that you love, do it. Don't wait on it. Do it. You could write a comic, you could do a short animation about it, you could do an art piece, whatever it is, whatever idea you have, get it on paper and do it. And people are going to flock to you. It may take some time, but people will definitely flock to you in time. But you have to take that chance on yourself. You have to do something that makes you feel fulfilled. You have to do something that gives you hope. And those momentary hopes, those momentary ideas or that mission in your life that you love and that you desire to fulfill, that is going to keep you moving despite the despair, despite the repeated failure or what have you. Because we all should have the chance to fulfill our desires and do what makes us happy. Leader is a strong word. I mean, it, even though I could be a leader, and even though I definitely have the potential and ability to push people forward, I think I'm definitely more of a. I consider myself a bit of a secretary or like a uplifter. I definitely like to provoke thought in people and to keep people moving and going despite failure. I mean, I could be a leader, and I definitely think I have the potential to be a good leader in the future. But for right now, I'm just for inspiring hope and getting people to take that next step. If you guys think I'm a leader, then I guess I can be a leader. But yeah, definitely. If this is something that needs to be done, so I will definitely do it. And I definitely think I have the strength and fortitude to bear the burdens as well. I mean, like, I've been through so much. Like, what's a little bit more? So, Benichka, to answer your question, I think that it's not for me to decide if I'm a leader or not. It's for other people. But if I have a belief or a hope or a desire, I can definitely uplift and sort of be that core or that voice that keeps people moving forward. I hope that answered your question. Does anybody have any more questions or any more things that they want to ask me or question me about? You can pick my mind. I have plenty of time. And that's actually one of the things I learned in college, as well as just from overall experience, especially since, you know, I've been working in retail for the past 9, 10 months. And so, what really happens is people often get crushed by deadlines, and there's already this horrible epidemic in the animation and art community about meeting deadlines and crunch time when, as I've learned as an artist, is that there are just moments and times where you can't keep doing revision after revision and retouch after retouch. Sometimes you just have to go with what you have, and you have to manage people accordingly. Sometimes, definitely, you should have more than two or three animators working on one scene. Sometimes you need like an entire group of people. Animation is a group effort. And while you can have one person, one or two people who are like doing rough passes or rough in betweens and sort of like doing the storyboarding, at the end of the day, you are going to need multiple people, which is why I believe in like sharing files and just overall like sharing information with people and also helping them in whatever way they may need. Like, you can't wait on one person. It needs to be multiple people working on multiple things at a time, and no one waiting for somebody else. Because while someone is storyboarding, other people could be gathering lines or testing certain rigs and um, testing certain composites or color theories and color choices that can be used. It's a very interlaced thing. And so what I faced in retail is, okay, like I work in retail, so like I work at a big store. I'm not gonna name it. You guys can figure it out on your own because I'm not trying to get sued. But like, they have a bad habit of spreading people too thin when the store and the overall working environment can definitely benefit from a buddy system or a partner system. Like, there were moments and times where there have been very dangerous situations that could have been avoided if there were more than one or two people in an area. Like, there was this one time where, and this really like stands out to me, where I had a customer. He was doing some very like illicit and inappropriate things while on one of the display phones. And like, I had tried to contact the manager, I had tried to contact AP, I had tried to contact many people, but nobody came. So like, I was sort of weirded out and grossed out by the dude, but I couldn't do anything. And then, because even though there's supposed to be multiple people, at least two people assigned to my station, which is like the electronics area, they keep pulling my associates to work in other places. And so I'm constantly there by myself. And late at night, like 9, 10 o'clock, close to closing, part of my language, but that's really when the crazy folks come out. So like, there have been like dangerous situations or like very uncomfortable situations where I've had to deal with instances that I would have liked if that would have been better if I had more than one person there with me. Um, Theft is constantly a thing. Uh, Management is also an issue. Like, managers are constantly pulling people. We're constantly short staffed because new folks don't last a day, because like, managers constantly lie about job descriptions. They'll say you'd be doing one thing, but then they pull you to do 20 or 30 other things that you didn't sign up to do, or you weren't told that you'd be doing. So they can't really keep anybody. Um, so honestly, if I was in some sort of leadership position, I would definitely set up a buddy system, as well as just have proper scheduling and planning to avoid any sort of issues that would arise during projects or in the workplace. If that answers your question, Benichka. Now, as for my stance on AI, honestly, I don't mind AI. Let me clear my throat real quick. I don't mind AI, and I definitely don't feel threatened by it. I personally think that it's just a tool. Like many different artists, writers, what have you, we use computers, we use our hands, we use different programs, we use different physical media as well as digital media. AI is just potentially another tool that we can use. Because one of the things is that AI, like many other programs and many other artists, is you can't solely depend on just that one tool. You're going to have to go through constant revisions, constant stress tests. What AI may produce is good, but sometimes it needs to be retouched. And so what I think would be best applicable for AI is mainly as a tool for inspiration, mainly a tool for inspiration, mainly to help inspire artists or to help artists get their ideas brewing. so that they can further develop and further generate newer art, newer media, and stuff like that. Because progress is coming whether you want it to or not. And progress doesn't make the old ways obsolete, it makes them better or it makes them easier. Because AI is good and AI is definitely getting better, but there is still sort of this is gonna sound a bit, I don't know, cringy, or what's the word? Not cringy, but like sort of gimmicky when I say this, but like there is no replacement for that human touch. I I know it's I know I sound like an old man, but the human touch, the human experience and input can have leaps and bounds on work, on creative ideas, on technical ideas, on many things, is that human touch, that human desire, and that inspiration. There's just no replacing what we bring to the table. Like many things, eventually everything will just come into equilibrium. That's usually how many things sort of start. It was with space travel, satellites, like the invention of the light bulb, the invention of cars. There is always going to be a rough period, but eventually things will work themselves out. That's not to say you can be just complacent, but just try not to worry too much. And again, there may be some companies that only want to have AI projects, that only want to have AI writers or AI animators and artists. And then there's also going to be other companies and other entities that would much rather prefer working with people. There's always going to be a basis and there's always going to be a precedent for what you want to do, what you like, and what you enjoy. That's why, and that's sort of the core or the reason why I said that artists, filmmakers, animators should expand, should decentralize from Hollywood, and should open up and start their own studios across the US, across the world, because it does allow for them to have some form of security isn't the right word, but have some form of stability and still have some form of stake in their desires and in their passions. I hope that makes sense. Oh no, I am not using Clip Studio. I'm using Adobe Animate. So this is all vector animation. Clip Studios, I believe, is a bitmap animation. So what really turned me on to Adobe Animate is I opened it up in high school and I sort of fell in love with the program. So I've just constantly used it and I've constantly enjoyed using the software. So it's just become my program of preference. And also, one of the pros of using Adobe products is you can easily and seamlessly import the project files between different programs. So if I wanted to composite this animation, all I have to do is just drag the source file and place it into After Effects, and then it preserves the layers, the colors, the layer effects, and other properties as well. So that's really why this has been my preference, and this has been my like go-to program to use. Hmm. I'm almost done animating the head. And then after this, I think I'll do the horns or I might do the sword. You know, for a while, I was actually opposed to using motion blurs or smear frames. I was opposed to using smear frames, but now I'm thinking of like actually going into using them because they can sort of sell the idea of speed. I just had a personal preference against smear frames because I didn't like how bad they make the animation look in process. But now that I actually look at it and now that I'm actually growing and developing and getting better, I actually do see the potential of smear frames and how they can help make the projects look better. Oh yeah, if I say anything that you like, or if I say anything you guys enjoy, feel free to like clip it. Like you don't have to ask my permission or anything. Like if you hear me say something cool and you want to save that for later, or like post it to YouTube or like post it to Twitter, I mean, or wherever, do it. I don't care. Like don't wait on me. These are just my raw, free ideas and thoughts that I like sharing with people. Any more questions? Can I take a question from the audience, from my lovely and beautiful people who have stopped by? Or you want to know my ideas on something? Anything, nothing is off the table. What is my process like coming up with a new idea? Hmm. So I have. Okay, so Kyliko, I'm gonna get back to your question in a second, but Benichka, you use Photoshop for animation? Okay, so Photoshop is bitmap. It does use like clusters of pixels in order to create their images, and Photoshop is good for art. Animation, not so much. Okay? No. No, do not use Photoshop for animation. Okay, like if you are gung ho, I'm not gonna say anything about it. But when I was in college, they tried to force Photoshop on us, and it ain't work. Okay, Photoshop wasn't photoshopping for me. I would say try Adobe Animate because, in my personal opinion, it is easier because it's a software specifically designed for animation to be first. So, like, what you have to understand is that when it comes to programs, there is a precedent and there is a design choice for these programs. Photoshop was designed to be a photo retouching and photo editing program first. So you have to keep that in mind. Premiere Pro was designed to be a video editing software first. Autodesk Maya was designed to be a 3D modeling program first. Like there are precedents for certain programs you use. And while it is good to have programs that can do other things and can achieve other effects, you do know that there's Benichka, you do know that there is the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite, and that only costs like $32 a month. Like you get Photoshop, you get Animate, you get everything, and it's only $32 a month. If you're a college student or a high school student, you actually get it for $19 a month. Hmm. I'm sorry to hear that. It'll get better. Like it'll get better. You know, have hope, have faith. It'll get better. Now on to Kyliko's question. Um, I'm sorry to hear that, Benichka. I'm praying for you. I really truly am. I do hope that things get better for you and that you at least have the potential or the chance to try Adobe Animate because it is a far better program for animation than Photoshop. That's just me objectively speaking. Um, Kyliko's question about my process for coming up with new ideas. Honestly, things just come to me. Like that's really the best way I can describe it is I constantly have ideas for like, ooh, let me make an angel priest who instead of like regular clothes, he has like multiple wings and they wrap around his body and like I want to like animate something with him or like, ooh, let me create this handsome male character whose powers and abilities go into like amplifying the powers of others. Let me make this kid who is an illusionist and his magic and powers deal with like creating illusions and so he's like a street performer and parlor trickster. Actually, yeah, Kyliko, you mentioned something that I constantly forget, but like there's also deals and bundles on like Clip Studio Paint, like and they're practically giving the program away at times all throughout the year. Just keep up to date, and you may want to check like every couple weeks or every month, just see when an offer or deal is happening for Clip Studio, and then you can just buy it. So about new ideas, like I've just been I've just been like blessed with new ideas, I guess you could say. Like I'm always coming up with something new or something I want to animate. I have an entire sketchbook full of character designs, of concepts, of different things from my show, which is 13, and I constantly think of like new stuff to add to it, new stuff to do, new stuff I'd like to do, and I just go with it. Now, I do actually take the time to sort of refine my ideas as well. So, not every idea I have is raw, but I do take the time to sort of refine my characters, refine my character design process. Like, I do go through at least three good character designs before I finally tie down a concept or a clothing style choice that I think fits the characters. Like with Witches 13, my show, because it is a blend of science fantasy, I had to look at fantasy clothing as well as tech wear. And then because it's happening, and then because like the big key event that happened was the year 2000, I also had to look at like Y2K fashion as well. So when it comes to character designs, like with Prism, even with Prism's design, like right here, like this is sort of the um Witches 13 schematic, you could say, for character design. Of It's this blend of Y2K tech wear and fantasy clothing and high fantasy clothing, in which there are certain articles of clothing that are tight fitting and revealing, and then there are also certain other areas where there's going to be like this free flowing fabric on characters. So like some characters wear chaps, other characters wear like baggy jogger pants, some wear jeans, others wear tank tops or short shorts. Like it's a very futuristic almost design style, because in making a science fantasy, because again, not many people make science fantasies. Many people, they either have sci-fi or they have modern or high fantasy. They don't really blend the two. And when science and fantasy is blended, that usually ends up being this Victorian or neo-American steampunk type aesthetic and design choices, where that's not necessarily what I'm going for. Because the main theme of my show is tomorrow. Like this isn't far future. This can be achieved this could be achieved next year. This could be achieved in the next 2-3 years. Like this is right around the corner. So that's really the design choice that I've been going with. Is that these clothing styles, these clothing choices could that these design choices could reasonably be achieved, like these choices in clothing and design could reasonably be achieved within a year or two, because there's also like floating buildings, floating islands. Oop, I almost dropped my phone. There are floating buildings, floating islands, cities that are underwater. The Cascade brought about different developments in people as well, in which there are elves and orcs and beastmen and like half animal, half human entities across the world. Because what happened was, because of the direct exposure to magic on living creatures as well as the environment, it has caused this sort of hyperflora and hyperfauna. So, like animals have sharp enamel protrusions, or deers have like these crystallized horns. There are giant plants, there are floating land masses, there are areas and locations in the earth where they are constantly on fire or they're constantly like superheated and hot. One of my favorite locations, Neo New York, is this view of New York about 20, 30 years in the future, where because of the direct exposure to magic, it has caused the different boroughs and the different free floating buildings of New York to essentially levitate in the air. And so that has caused a boom in magic and industry in which there are islands that in which there are like many islands and bridges that connect different boroughs and different areas of New York City together. And there are also flying vehicles, and like children make and like children and kids, they like make a habit of using teleportation magic or riding on broomsticks or and different stuff like that and flying. Like there's also a booming airship community in Neo New York as well. I'm sorry. You asked me about how I made these new ideas, and like I just went off on a tangent. I'm sorry about my show. I apologize, but like I just get so passionate. I mean, like it's really nothing. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say that. Like this is a lot, but like you don't have to just you know, because the thing is that so the idea for Witches 13 is so like the whole idea and concept of Witches 13 is that it very much came from this concept of like religion, and I use Christianity as a base, and like so but when I took inspiration from Christianity, I mainly took inspiration from the Book of Enoch. And so, for those of you who are watching and you don't really know, the Book of Enoch is one of the lost texts of the Bible. So essentially, what happened is in early, I believe it was 200 AD, 200 to 400 AD, the Catholic Church removed many different books from the Bible to sort of refine and redefine the Christian canon. And so the book of Enoch follows one of the few characters in the Bible by the name of Enoch, and his whole thing is that he was a prophet, he walked with God, and it also went over things like fallen angels and crafts and magic and sorceries that the angels who fell from heaven taught humanity. And so this is really much what inspired Witches 13 is it's this idea that humans have regained the magic or were gifted back the magic that was taken from them a long time ago, because humans were always meant to have magic. It's just for some reason the magic cycle was not kickstarted. And so the ideas and the concepts like the cascade go back to like the biblical flood and angels teaching humanity and creating giants and monsters breeding with humans, stuff like that. So that's very much what inspired this story. And so it's this blend of what we know as well as what we don't know and what we don't understand yet. And the entire idea of the cascade could also be brought back to the book of Revelations, in which, there's the apocalypse, the world was destroyed, but then a new world is being created. And so this is that new world in which hope and desire reign supreme. Like, this is very much a utopian society. Like, think about it for a moment. Everyone has magic, everyone has the ability to use magic. Like, it's a society based off of the usage of magic. And magic in this world is very much based on perception of reality. So there are people who use science and math to use magic, and then there are other people who use their emotions to use magic as well, or they sense the environment to use magic. And so that leads to like an era of humanity in which, quite honestly, the sky is the limit for them. Like, you have people who don't even have jobs. Like, they use magic to create their own personal islands or outfit their own personal lands and areas for them to survive and live and thrive. You have people who use teleportation magic like it's nothing, or they use time magic to speed themselves up. You have areas and places where, this is a society where everyone can use magic. So what does that mean for children? So like, when a child has a tantrum and their magic runs rampant, like, oh, you don't have to worry about it because their parent or some adult is not going to be too far away, so that adult can easily like siphon the rampant magic from that child who's having a temper tantrum. There's also like lampposts and other sort of mechanical constructions that can sense and detect like arcing, unfocused magical energy and sort of siphon it and redistribute it to power the city. Magic is used as a resource. Magic is everywhere and in everything. And so what happens is, I guess I have to further explain how magic works in this world, but essentially, magic is sort of like a cycle. Like, we have the nitrogen cycle, the water cycle, the plant cycle, many different cycles. And so what happens in Witches 13 is that the cascade essentially caused the magic cycle, in which there is this particle in the air that is sort of taken into humans, like when they sleep, when they eat, when they are just in a natural setting, in all creatures, not just humans, but like in animals, in the earth as well, where there is this cycle in which magic is continuously being brought into and expelling from their body. And so this kickstarting of the magic cycle has led to many different developments: longer lifespans, higher durability, higher strengths, on top of like people who have become, these different fantasy races. But to bring it back to the magic, and so the action of completing and the action of doing spells is more so calling upon the reserves of magic that are in your body to impose your desire or will upon the world. And so that release and transformation of magic causes an effect to happen. It's like the magic going from one state to another. So say you create a magical barrier. You are taking the reserves from your body. Well, let me go over again. There are different ways to use magic. Many people use the magic reserves from their body purely. Other people use a portion of their magical reserves, and then they use the ambient magic in the environment to also complete spells. But essentially, what happens is you use your magic to create like a barrier or like a shield of some sort. So you're expending magic to create and sustain this barrier, and then after the barrier is broken or you dispel the magic, then it is released into the environment to be reabsorbed by somebody later or to be reabsorbed by either the earth or some plants or another animal later to be reused again. So magic is not a finite resource in this world. It is constantly in a cycle of usage and unusage. And because of the passive effects of magic, it has also led to longer lifespans, greater developments. Essentially, humans have the time to develop themselves, do what they need or desire to have certain freedoms that they didn't originally have. And that is why this is a world in the creation of, like, putting humans first and putting humanity first and sort of not decadence, but progression into more philosophical and social recourse. Does that make sense? I know that was a bit of a baked world building, but I do hope that that made sense. I was not expecting to be talking for this long, but thank you everyone who stopped by. Thank you, Benichka, for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. I'll be streaming for a little while longer. I'll probably end my stream at around 12 Eastern Standard Time. But honestly, you can stop by as long as you want. You can leave whenever you want. Don't feel tied here. Just come when you feel like it. So the thing is that how should I put it? It's not that there's no such thing as an original idea, Kyliko. Rather, what happens is we are constantly being inspired by each other as well as the world around us. So, on the surface, if I were to just tell you, like, oh, this is a world that blends magic and science, and we have flying cars and stuff like that, and we have magic that's powering technology, then you would say, oh, yeah, that's a completely original idea. But now that I've told you, like, oh, I've taken inspiration from the Bible, and I've taken inspiration from angels and different stuff like that, you begin to see that there is no such thing as a completely 100% original idea. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's more so a precedent of our environment, the people we surround ourselves with, we are constantly being inspired by and pushed to do more with. My favorite animation studio? Hmm. So this is a bit of a classic. This is a bit of an oldie, but definitely Moon Scoop. Moon Scoop and their series of Code Lyoko was really the first like overarching story that I watched that I very much enjoyed. Like I just loved Code Lyoko growing up. I loved the idea. I loved the blending of like 3D and 2D animation. I also very much loved just how story centric it was. So if I could definitely choose, Moon Scoop would probably be the big animation studio I would choose to be a part of. Now there was this other animation I watched, but like it was so long ago. Like I barely remember it, but like I remember being obsessed with the show. It wasn't Young Justice, though I do love Young Justice. Young Justice was a guilty pleasure of mine. Like I'm gonna be honest. There was this one show, like I forgot it now, and I'm pretty sure it was an anime too. Now I would like to work for Studio Trigger. They actually have like some really good animations, and they have some really good shows too. I love Cyberpunk Edge Runners. That that show is awesome. It is the best. Like I'm gonna be completely honest. Like I've just been focused so much on making and doing kind of my own stuff that I've forgotten some of the shows I used to watch as a kid. Isn't that kind of wild? Kind of crazy. Now I will say that I'm not really much of a movie guy. I'm definitely more of a TV show kind of person. Like I love TV shows. I just love binge watching them. When Arcane came out, I have rewatched that thing at least 4 times, and like each time I watch it, there's a new detail or something else that I just love about it pops up. Like I could rewatch Arcane forever. The character art, the story, just everything is so beautiful and well put together. I got about 15 minutes left, so I think I'll just finish this up. Right, let me copy this frame. Oh, and there are some like nice little animation quick hacks you can do, like copy and pasting frames so then you don't have to like worry about redrawing the same thing over and over again, because that can get a bit tiresome when you're constantly doing the same thing over and over and over again. So it is good to, now you can't copy or paste everything, but there are moments and times where you can. So definitely take advantage of those. So I finished doing the head. That's good. I guess I can do the sword next. Oop, I forgot to draw the hand. It'll be fine. So one of the things you need to do as an artist or animator is definitely work on your weight as well as the strength of your hand, because sometimes if you press too hard, it can lead to making some very wobbly lines. And so sometimes it is a good idea to do what I'm doing, which is to just make these quick line marks. But there is a chance that you may go over too much, or you may not connect the line, so then you'll have to go back and erase some areas. And given your software, like with, in my case, Adobe Animate, because this is vector, I have to be very careful with where I erase, or else I could cause certain lines to be messy, or what's the word? Or have certain areas be sort of like this area right here, where there was sort of like this continuation, or this right here and this right here, where the lines do not perfectly enclose and they sort of veer off. So sometimes you do need to do it for the sake of getting the right line, and other times it can be difficult or hamper your art. So sometimes you do need to take your time. Like this right here, what I was talking about, how certain joints can be disjointed or not fully enclosed. So you may have to go back in, and you may have to enclose it like this. Then you'll have to use your eraser to erase it. Erase. And you see, sometimes you can erase too much and end up accidentally erasing more than you meant to. Animation and art in general is definitely a balancing act that you will definitely get the hang of. It'll just take you some time to. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no issue in that. It's just life. Wow, it is almost 12 o'clock. I can't keep you guys here forever. As much as I love animating and having these long live streams, I do think I should go. I can't keep you guys here forever. You guys have other things to do and other things to take care of in your life. So I do hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was nice. I hope you guys were able to learn something. I also hope that I could share my loves and my passions with you all, and you guys got to enjoy that. Anyway, yeah, that is about it. This is. Ooh, what was that? I keep pressing Control minus on the voice chat. I'm trying to zoom this out. Anyway, this has been Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. I'll see you guys in my next video or stream. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share even. I also have a Patreon and a Buy Me a Coffee in the description below, as well as a Fiverr account in case you guys need or want me to do something for you. Anyway, this has been Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. I'll see you guys in my next video or stream. Bye. Oh, I do stream on Tuesdays and Fridays. Just so you know, I stream on Tuesdays and Fridays, usually around noon, or I start at around 9:45, 10 o'clock to noon. Anyway, thank you for watching Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.